Hi, and a very warm welcome to Wellbeing Mission Control. I'm always delighted when you can join me. It's a beautiful day here, and even though it's going to be busy, I thought it might be interesting for us to have a little chat about some of the ways that you can make things better in your life. Let's start with an idea. Have you ever noticed that sometimes progress takes longer than you'd really like? You have great plans, you take the right steps, but things just seem to be delayed. There are difficulties and obstructions when you really want to rush ahead, make progress, and fulfill your dreams and ambitions. Well, let's just take a step back from that, because the obstacle that may be blocking your progress isn't necessarily just in your circumstances. I can think of lots of examples where we change the conditions in which we're living and working, and then things persist. I've known people who've left one country because they've sought their fortunes in another part of the world and been rather disappointed to discover that the same conditions apply. And it's because we carry the same attitudes around with us, and those attitudes have a profound impact on the quality of the life that we lead. Let's just remember that almost everything that we think, that we feel, that we do comes from that vast but largely invisible resource known as the subconscious. Between 95 and 99% of all that we are in terms of how we think and feel is coming out of the subconscious, but we're not aware of it. The subconscious tends to speak the language of symbolism. It doesn't even share a common language with your conscious mind that can interpret my words and I hope understand what I'm endeavoring to say. But symbolism has a very powerful impact on how we react. How we react between this fantastically powerful stratum of influence that comes from the subconscious and how those attitudes and ideas are translated into our everyday lives. And that's why symbolic gestures are sometimes very powerful in terms of changing how we experience life. It's one of the reasons that I advise people to make space in their lives. There's something strangely effective in identifying parts of your environment at work or at home that are perhaps untidy, or perhaps filled with the clutter of the past. You look at old photos, those letters, clothes and furniture that are always connected with episodes you've experienced, and you've realized that those episodes no longer serve your best interests. And there is something deeply cleansing, the word catharsis, cleansing, about grabbing hold of things you'd no longer need and disposing of them, giving them away, selling them, put them in the garbage, whatever you want to do. But psychologically, the fact that we have created space in our lives for our material well-being, for our relationships, for our health, for our happiness, triggers all kinds of strange events within the universe of the subconscious. When we create space, it's as if the unconscious goes, oh, you're ready for something new, for something fresh, perhaps something better. And this simple act, tidying up your environment, making things perhaps more available for new experiences, this allows your subconscious to begin to scan for new opportunities that will fulfill those unfulfilled needs. It sounds crazy simply because your conscious mind doesn't speak the same language as the unconscious. When we employ these symbolic gestures, it's amazing how quickly the unconscious picks up the message and begins to work very much in your favor. Sometimes it just takes a simple gesture. You tidy things up and you think, I can see that I can exercise control over my immediate environment. And that's quite empowering. But disposing of elements from the past helps you to feel that you created space. You're no longer directly linked to whatever happened. And you create space for something fresh and new to turn up in your life. It's such a simple idea. It doesn't make sense, but the unconscious, which is after all driving the bus and controlling your life, is fully aware of how important these gestures are. And I commend this simple technique to you as a fabulous way to speed up your progress, to introduce positive changes into your life, perhaps that you feel have been overdue. Let me know what you think. It's always a pleasure to hear from you. Feel free to share your thoughts and comments and observations. And in the meantime, allow me to wish you a wonderful day, to remind you that I will be back with you soon, I promise. Bye for now.